It's been a big all-star weekend for the NBA in Houston, Texas, as CBS Sports presents proudly the 39th annual NBA All-Star Game. From the magnificent Astrodome in Houston, Texas, where they have not played in 17 years. We know about the big game in 1968. This may be the second most important game ever played in Houston, Texas. And good afternoon again, everyone. I'm Dick Stockton, and once again, welcome to the NBA All-Star Game, one of the highlights of any season on CBS Sports. You know, yesterday, Magic Johnson, who's unable to play, as you know, in this game on videotape, talked to the players who will play, and he said, we hope that you're taping this game and taking all the snapshots, because it may not hit you now, but as the years go on, you're going to want to make a memory of what kind of thrill it is to be in the All-Star Game. And we know he is watching this game in Los Angeles, and this is his kind of game. But we are loaded with stars today, and we're glad that you could be with us. And Hubie Brown, from your vantage point, what kind of a game is it to you?
Well, to me, each player wants to express his talents. This is the big dance. Now, the only way that you can do that is if you get the minutes and you get the scoring opportunities. The game will be quick, up-tempoed, pushing the action. So that means the big challenge for the player is that he must blend his athletic talent in with the superstars that we have here today. Everybody is in the best of condition. Things will be done at such a great rate of speed that everything will look easy, but it will be difficult.
Now, Huey, we've already seen the respective locker rooms, but a closer look at the blackboard, particularly Pat Riley's in the West. There are some of the plays, very few plays and sets as they call them, but notice on the bottom left hand, have fun, feel honored, play hard. Probably the only place and the only time you will see that there. Having talked to both coaches, what is their outlook here?
Well, it's difficult for a coach in this game. They're trying to play all 12 players in the first half. After that, they're working on combinations and then trying not to be overpowered at one position. So when you look at what they're doing here, I say, have fun. You have nothing to prove today.
That's right. They've done it all. Right now, it's time to meet the All-Stars. And for that, let's go to our public address announcer, Mark Seegers.
Ladies and gentlemen, the 1989 NBA Eastern Conference All-Stars. Enjoying perhaps his finest season, an NBA All-Star for the second time from the Milwaukee Bucks, forward Terry Cummings. Also making his second All-Star appearance at 23, the youngest competitor in today's game, one of 3 All-Stars from the Cleveland Cavaliers, center Brad Daugherty. One of the keys to the New York Knicks' success, among the NBA leaders in scoring and blocked shots, a 3-time All-Star, center Patrick Ewing. Another member of the New York Knicks, making his first All-Star appearance, the team leader in assists and steals, guard Mark Jackson. From the Boston Celtics, competing in his 5th All-Star game, the Celtics' leading scorer, forward Kevin McHale. Making his second All-Star appearance and his first for the Eastern Conference, from the Cleveland Cavaliers, forward Larry Nance. Another member of the surprising Cavaliers, the team's playmaker, a first-time All-Star, guard Mark Price. Now the starting lineup for the Eastern Conference, as selected by fans in the Miller Lite All-Star voting program. At forward, one of the NBA's most exciting players, competing in his 4th NBA All-Star game from the Atlanta Hawks, Dominique Wilkins. Appearing in his 3rd All-Star game and making his first start, the scoring and rebounding leader of the Philadelphia 76ers, Charles Barkley. At guard, the most valuable player of the 1988 NBA All-Star Game, and the regular season as well. An all-star each of his 5 seasons in the NBA, the league leader in scoring and steals. From the Chicago Bulls, Michael Jordan. A 2-time All-Star Game Most Valuable Player. This man led his team to the NBA Finals last season, appearing in his 8th straight All-Star Game. From the Detroit Pistons, Isaiah Thomas. Finally, at center, a 12-time All-Star and 3-time Most Valuable Player. Welcome back, a former Houston Rocket, now with the Atlanta Hawks, Moses Malone. Trainer for the East squad, from the Philadelphia 76ers, Al Domenico. Assistant coaches, from the Cleveland Cavaliers, Dick Helm and Brian Winters. And the head coach of the Eastern Conference team, from the Cleveland Cavaliers, Lenny Wilkens. And now, the Western Conference All-Stars. The most valuable player of the 1987 All-Star Game in Seattle, making his 2nd All-Star appearance. From the Phoenix Suns, forward Tom Chambers. One of the NBA's leading scorers, competing in his 3rd All-Star Game. From the Portland Trail Blazers, forward Clyde Drexler. One of 5 first-time All-Stars on the West roster and the team's youngest player at 24. Also from the Portland Trail Blazers, center Kevin Duckworth. The biggest player in today's game at 7 feet 4 and 290 pounds. The NBA leader in blocked shots, making his All-Star debut from the Utah Jazz, center Mark Eaton. An outstanding scorer and passer. A first-time All-Star, enjoying his finest season. From the Golden State Warriors, forward Chris Mullin. A fine scorer in the low post or the running game. Playing in his 4th All-Star game, from the Los Angeles Lakers, forward James Worthy. An NBA All-Star for the 19th time. The NBA's all-time leading scorer in regular season, playoff, and all-star competition. One of the sport's all-time greats who is competing in his final season. From the Los Angeles Lakers, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. Now, the starting lineup for the Western Conference All-Stars. At forward, making his 8th consecutive All-Star appearance, one of the NBA's all-time leading scorers, the smooth veteran from the Denver Nuggets, Alex English. One of the NBA's leading scorers and rebounders, a 2nd-time All-Star starter in only his 3rd pro season. From the Utah Jazz, the mailman, Karl Malone. At guard, making his All-Star debut, an effective scorer from outside or driving to the basket. From the Seattle Supersonics, Dale Ellis. Also making his All-Star debut, the NBA leader in assists last year and again this year. From the Utah Jazz, guard John Stockton. Finally, the dynamic center who ranks among the NBA leaders in scoring, rebounding, steals, and block shots. A 5-time All-Star. The mainstay of the Houston Rockets, Hakeem Olajuwon. Trainer for the West squad from the Houston Rockets, Ray Melchiori. Assistant coaches from the Los Angeles Lakers, Bill Burtka and Randy Funk. And the head coach of the Western Conference All-Stars from the Los Angeles Lakers, Pat Riley. Ladies and gentlemen, please stand for the presentation of our colors by the City of Houston's Honor Color Guard. And now, to honor America with the singing of our national anthem, Grammy Award winner, Natalie Cole.
Say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched, earth so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free, yes, and the home of the
CBS Sports coverage of the NBA All-Star Game is sponsored by the Miller Brewing Company, proud founder of the Thurgood Marshall Black Education Fund. AT&T, the right choice. And by Ford and your Ford dealer. Have you driven a Ford lately?
The Astrodome in Houston, Texas, the site of the 39th annual All-Star Game. And there you see the immense crowd here. The record attendance was in Indianapolis 4 years ago, 43,146. And we could approach that or surpass it this afternoon. The officials working this game, Hugh Evans, Bill Saar, and Dick Bavetta. And they are rotated, but they are chosen by their efficiency. So the best officials work these games. Michael Jordan, last year was his game, Hubie Brown. And Dominique Wilkins always in the picture. Tom Chambers a couple of years ago in Seattle. And of course, we will always discuss as the game moves on, possible MVP, because that becomes a big one.
As you look at who can excel in this kind of a game, the guards and the small forwards, because they have the ability to beat you off the dribble and create things for themselves and get out in the open floor. Transition game, a la big-time playground.
And there's talk about that. Isaiah Thomas, who has won 2 Most Valuable Player awards. We're underway. The West in white, the East is in the dark red, and Dale Ellis from Alex English puts the West ahead quickly.
The coaching staffs are just putting in like 3 or 4 simple sets, allowing the players to get a catch in a certain area so that they can do their one-on-one moves.
Moses Malone is posting up against Akeem. Barkley takes the shot and misses. Olajuwon the rebound. John Stockton, the only true point guard on the West Stars. And you're going to get some of that too, a turnover, because they only really went through paces for 45 minutes yesterday.
Well, it's unfortunate for a player who's accustomed to getting 20-some-odd shots during a game during the regular season. He's getting the ball delivered to him from players who are accustomed to him making his pet moves. Here, the guys are just getting a feel for one another.
And we'll have our first foul of the game as Dominique Wilkins began his move. And it is against John Stockton. As you saw, the East has won 7 of the last 9 and have a 25-13 edge. But what's interesting is that in the last 12 years, only 1 game has been decided by more than 10 points, and that was the game in Indianapolis. So we're always in for close affairs here.
Well, it's the competition. Everyone wants to excel, and when they get out there, their motors are going. They're wide open.
Here's Dominique Wilkins, who's been bothered by a dislocated thumb.
He missed a few games for the Atlanta Hawks, and he gave it a run against the Knicks the other night, but he has difficulty holding on to the ball.
Michael Jordan with a steal, a 3-on-2 break. No look pass. Now Isaiah Thomas. Barkley scores and ties the game.
I would think that the ultimate compliment to my talents today would be, you know, I score my points, but more important, that people are going to remember me for my passing.
Well, if the West scores, then they'll have a tie. Alex English in the lane. He's guarded by Dominique Wilkins. Good play again by Wilkins. He made the defensive play that time. Look at that pass. You're going to see some of that. It's showtime early here. Olajuwon. Stockton on the drive. And we're tied now at 4. Got to rise out of the crowd early here as Thomas Hearns, one of the celebrities watching the game. Moses Malone misses. And here come the West again. Dale Ellis with wide open jumper. He won the 3-point shootout yesterday. He finished second to Larry Bird last year. He has been Seattle's big gun.
Bickerstaff sums him up great. Calls him a man of great courage.
Isaiah Thomas comes back with the basket. Thomas disappointed that Magic Johnson isn't here. Steal again, this time Wilkins. Oh, 360.
Left it a little short, though.
Stockton getting in. They're working out the kinks early here. Hakeem Olajuwon. You know you'll hear a cheer. Anything that Hakeem does today. Right now they're trying to get the timing down. And of course, you've seen many All-Star games, and this is no surprise. Stockton all the way with the drive. And we're tied at 6 with 9:15 to go opening period.
You're always worrying about court balance in games like this. You just want the guys to get back so they have a little bit resistance, so that it just doesn't become up and down.
Barkley fights his way in. Charles Barkley, he had some comments about the Atlanta Hawks, but they're kind of friendly. Moses Malone and Barkley were kidding in practice yesterday as Karl Malone. He had a big game last year for the West Stars. 10-8, the West in front. They won 2 years ago in Seattle in overtime in the Tom Chambers thriller.
There's pick and roll now. Michael Jordan, Moses Malone.
Barkley follows up. Charles Barkley asked him, do you want to be MVP? He says, I guaranteed my teammates on the Sixers I'd get 10 rebounds. That's what I'm shooting for today. He wants 10 boards. Olajuwon with his first basket.
Hakeem Olajuwon is the only guy in this league who is in the top 10 in 4 categories.
Pretty good testimony there. Moses is fouled inside.
On the offensive boards, Charles Barkley is leading this league. He's ahead of Moses Malone. This is what he does best. Very, very difficult to hold out because of the upper body strength.
Well, here's Moses. Moses said the 5 most selfish players on the 76ers were Barkley, 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 and he said it 5 times. But he was kidding yesterday. They're former teammates with Philadelphia. Moses has been around a long time and a new home with Atlanta. How do you think he's made out so far with the Hawks and fit in?
Well, I think it's difficult for them to get it together so quickly. I think in the second half of the season, you're going to see excellent execution with Theus and with Moses Malone.
Ronnie Lott of the world champion, Super Bowl champ 49ers in attendance. Alex English scores. All 5 starters for the West are in the scoring column. Loose ball, and here's a 3-on-2 with Karl Malone leading the way. They're not going to contest him. No way.
We don't see that very often. 2 6'9" guys on the fast break handling the ball.
Well, you know, there's a point guard spot to fill after John Stockton. 16-12, the West in front. 7:45 remaining first period. Dick Stockton and Huey Brown with the game action for you. Here's Dominique. Karl Malone takes up so much space, both ends inside.
Look out.
Oh! Karl Malone, who was the top scorer with 22 and rebounder with 10 for the West last year in the losing cause. And now we'll have our first time out of the game.
Watch Malone. You can see him coming here now. He's really gone on the weight program. He says, I can do anything better than everyone else because of my stamina.
Timeout early. Well, this year our focus will be on the parents of the players and how they reflect on the childhood of the All-Stars we see on the court this afternoon.
One of my habits is to be working on cars. You know, I always keep my old car to tinker with around the house, and I could always take my other boys out, and I could say, give me a 9/16 range or a pair of plows or something like that, and they'd go right to it. Well, I could tell Michael to give me a 9/16 range, and he might bring me a adjustable range this large, you know, and I'd always say, you and your big ears, go back in the house with your mom, you know, you make a better cook.
I think the opinion of this man by his peers and the coaches and the media, he deserves all of his success. He handles it so beautifully. He has time for everyone.
John Stockton has time for him as he slapped the ball away in the West. Stockton, by the way, with 4 assists in the game, making the most of his starting opportunity for Magic Johnson. Alex English misses, but there's the mailman again, Karl Malone, who has 8 early points, and it's a 20-12 West advantage. Block inside by Akeem. And gets congratulations from the rest of his teammates.
In the early going, you have to really appreciate what Isaiah and Stockton are doing. They're pushing the ball. They're not worrying about a stamina problem.
Inside, reverse bank by Michael Jordan. His first basket. Ellis now with 6 points. He was named most improved in the NBA 2 years ago, and later on we'll see Kevin Duckworth of Portland, who was most improved last year. Jordan didn't get the foul, and Moses Malone misses the rebound. So now it's a 4-on-2 break again, and Ellis scores and gets the foul. So 18 of the 20 points, 24 points have been fast break for the West.
Ellis is a very difficult cover. You're talking about a guy who's at 6'7". Anytime he's out on a break, you never know if he's going to stop up and hit that 3-point shot, take a medium jumper, or take it to the basket. Played forward in college at Tennessee and really has a dynamite low post game.
And you got to remember, he was acquired by Seattle for Al Wood in a trade with the Dallas Mavericks.
Sat on the bench for a number of years at Dallas, never got an opportunity.
Dominique Wilkins works his way in. Wilkins was the second leading scorer last year to Jordan. Jordan got all the headlines, but Wilkins had a pretty fine game. The lead is 9 for the West. Nearly halfway through this opening period, and Stockton and Ellis get crossed up, and the East will take over again.
See, the pressure for a point guard is that as you're coming off picks, what they're doing is they're trying to anticipate where you're going to go. That time, because of the way he was defense, Stockton thought that Ellis might fade to the corner.
Alley-oop. Patrick Ewing in the game, and Ewing gets the basket.
That was brute strength. Very, very strong move for Patrick.
So Patrick Ewing in the game for the East. Feed inside to Olajuwon, blocked by Ewing. And they're going to tie him up and jump him, and Patrick Ewing tied up Akeem Olajuwon on a stuff attempt, and that's the defensive play thus far.
That was so difficult because watch the pass. It's a great pass, and Olajuwon tries to dunk this with both hands, so you know he's going strong. That takes strength.
That is an all-star play by an all-star against another one, and the tip won by the East. Great pass from Isaiah to Barkley.
Did he send a little message there on that dunk?
So Karl Malone and Charles Barkley have been big people inside thus far. The point guards have set him up, but Ewing's block, we'll remember that a while. 25-20 the West. Alex English, so smooth.
The quietest scorer in this league. At the end of the night, you think Alice had 20, usually has about 38 or 39.
Thomas finds Barkley again, and there's Charles. He draws the foul this time around. And Kareem is going to come in the game to a big hand.
Isaiah Thomas has made at least 4 great passes so far in this game. But on this jump ball, watch how he catches and leads at the same time. Constantly looking to push the tempo of the game.
Kareem Abdul-Jabbar and Clyde Drexler have come in the game. Terry Cummings of Milwaukee in for the East. So Drexler of Portland, who of course was part of the Phi Slamma Jamma team with Akeem Olajuwon. There he is at the University of Houston, is in. Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. Cummings having a great year for Milwaukee. There's Terry. Had a chance to chat with him the other day. Says he enjoys the game the most he has in the last several years.
Well, he really feels that he's been revitalized. He feels over the last 3 seasons. He thinks that the Milwaukee Bucks are for real and will definitely continue at this pace in the second half of the year.
Winding down to 5 minutes to go in the opening period. Drexler. Here's English. Alex English.
That's his shot. Anytime Alex gets you down on the baseline, he's murder. It's a feathery touch.
He was traded from Indiana for George McGinnis. Let's not forget that deal. Talking about steals.
Hey, wait a second. Alex English was a second-round draft choice. How about that?
Charles Barkley inside. I like the way the East is getting the ball inside to Barkley thus far.
The open floor game we expect. The unselfishness part of this game will come with the perimeter people, both guards and the small forwards, distributing to the big forwards and centers. Because when you play big forward or center in an all-star game, it's really difficult to excel unless the other guys are totally unselfish.
Karl Malone committed the foul on Barkley, who is a newlywed. Maureen Lynn Blumhart, his new bride. And we have already learned, Hubie, that we have established a new record. New attendance record for the NBA All-Star Game. Tom Chambers goes in now for Karl Malone. 44,735, the largest in the 39-year history of the NBA All-Star Game. And there you see the numbers, the top attendance figures, and we've broken it, shattered it today.
Oh, you have to take your hat off to the people of Houston who have really supported this, and then the outstanding job by the NBA Commissioner's office.
It's turned into a huge event. Clyde Drexler misses outside. Chambers having a big year with Phoenix. Beats Alex English. English and Malone have 8, Ellis 9 for the West, and Charles Barkley with 11 is the leading scorer for the East. Ewing missed trying to go strong, and here comes Stockton and the West Stars. Feeds English. Nifty basket.
That was beautiful because Stockton read. He turned his head, knew Alex English was behind him on the break. This reminds me of John Stockton at Gonzaga College. John playing with 4 guys over 6'8".
Inside, Michael Jordan with his second basket.
That was a mini showtime. Just a mini.
Yeah, he's just warming up. Under 4 minutes to go, opening period. There's Kareem against Ewing. All right, skyhook. Usually it's from the other side, though. Barkley again crashing the board. Now the West should have an advantage. They have 4-on-2 against the East. Chambers from Stockton. They'll call goaltending against Patrick Ewing, who nearly blocked another one.
On this sequence, watch Zeke hit Michael going on a backdoor move, and there it is. You thought he was going to do a 360.
Cummings misses. Stockton the rebound. Runs into a stone wall in Terry Cummings. And the foul will be against Cummings. There's James Worthy of the Los Angeles Lakers. And Chris Mullin of the Golden State Warriors. One of the great stories. Last year he was watching this All-Star game on a stationary bike, recovering in alcohol rehabilitation, and now he's an All-Star. Larry Nance of Cleveland coming in for the East Stars.
Speaking about Mullin, yesterday Dick Burkett, the assistant coach of the Lakers, went over to the gym in the late afternoon at the YMCA, and there's Mullin pumping iron in the late afternoon after working out in the morning.
What a great recovery. Misses his first attempt. Ewing lost it out of bounds.
Now the West team at this time will have Drexler and Mullin in the backcourt position, so they do not have a true guard here right now.
Brad Riley, who told us in the pregame show, he says, I'm still depressed over the Magic Johnson loss, not only in this game, but for the year. You don't have to worry about the 24-second clock.
No, not today.
Chambers misses. Ewing with a good outlet pass to Isaiah Thomas. The West is back, however. Isaiah, wide open is Larry Nance. They're up an air ball. Here's Cummings. They're inventing shots out there, Hubie.
Looks a little bit like volleyball.
So you talked about the backcourt up front. It's Worthy, Chambers, and Kareem and Worthy. Patented move for James. Barkley, by the way, on the bench with the substitutions, has 11 points as the leading scorer in the ball game. Alex English has 10. He's out as well. Thomas with a move past Mullen. Lost control, and it'll be the West. And a timeout with 2 minutes and 12 seconds to go in the first period. Just the start of a big day. It's the All-Star game. We have a record crowd of 44,735 for an All-Star game here at the Astrodome. They haven't played a basketball game here in 17 years when the Houston Rockets played 8 games. And you're looking at the view from the left field line into home plate. Of course, the home of the Houston Astros. And there is the famed skylight. I remember when they first played an exhibition game here, everyone was losing fly balls. I think the Yankees played an exhibition game here. And there you see the Astros division championships in 80 and 86. John Stockton set a new record with 9 assists in the first quarter. That's most assists in a quarter. Mark Price is in, though, for the East Stars as we continue with 2:05 to go. Chambers going up, draws the foul.
Beautiful pick and roll that time. Drexler has a second guard here, coming off the pick and roll. Beautiful feed.
So Chambers will go to the line, and he was a free agent. What about the acquisition of Chambers and what it's meant to Phoenix this year?
Well, anytime that you get a quality player who can get you 25 to 35 points and you don't give up any draft picks, any type of a quality player, you add that with the trade that they made last year, the development of Herman Gilliam at the power forward position, and then 3 to 4 really terrific young rookies. And let's never say that Cotton Fitzsimmons hasn't done one of his best, maybe his best coaching job since he's been in the NBA.
That's great for him. They're the leading scorers, Barkley and English. Chambers with the free throws. He was originally a #1 pick by the San Diego Clippers. Patrick Ewing gets inside, tipped up and in by Larry Nance. And it's 39 to 27. The West leading by 12 with under 2 minutes to go in the first period.
See, in the early going, the West are making things count. They're taking good shots. They're not trying to do anything spectacular. That was good. I tell you, from our advantage that time, I thought Patrick really took the charge. And when you think about that a second, this is an all-star game, and Patrick Ewing attempts to take the charge here. Now, this is a pretty tough move. Very close, you know. It depends upon the angle that you were looking at that one. Sure, they don't care whether they win or lose.
No, that's why they're throwing their bodies around the floor. So Ewing picks up the foul, and Chambers again on the free throw line. He said, you know, a couple of years ago it was a storybook story for me, you know, the MVP award in Seattle, the hometown. He says, you know what, now I want the West to win again like they did 2 years ago. 41 to 27, 14-point lead. That's the biggest lead thus far for the West All-Stars, who are playing without the Magic Man.
Oh, great.
And Drexler made a good defensive move, one after another.
2 terrific defensive moves. Michael Jordan beats his man off the dribble. You saw a great rotation and then another rotation. We're going to see it all here today because of the quickness of foot and the shot blocking ability.
Jordan, quick shot. Rebound Chambers. How would you like to have these guys work them for about a couple of months and then go out with them, huh? See what you can do with them. Price is on Drexler, giving up a lot of inches. Chris Mullen double team. Having trouble with the ball, and it's stolen away by Mark Price. Open court is Michael Jordan. Oh!
Gave it and took it back, and then soft layup, fingertip roll.
41-29, under a minute to go, first period. The West is led virtually all the way. Drexler comes right back at him. Can't do it, and there's Jordan in open court. He gets the basket. Michael Jordan with 8 points now. Former Sixer Bobby Jones. He used to run the court pretty well and play fine defense for Philadelphia.
Listen, Bobby looked good yesterday in the Legends game. Got double figures, almost won the game.
Worthy hits one from outside with a half a minute to go. 7 different West players have scored. English leads them with 10, although he's on the bench right now. Good penetration by Price. Cummings can't get the roll, and the rebound by Chambers, and he's hacked under the basket with 19 seconds to go in the first quarter. There's a legend talking about one.
John Havlicek, one of the all-time greats. Could play guard, could play small forward. At the end of his career, he was still knocking in double figures, shooting a high percentage. And then the big thing when you think of Havlicek, you think of a guy who laid it out there every night with his heart and never got tired.
And never worked up a sweat, it seemed. They're in the penalty now, and Terry Cummings picking up his second personal foul. Tom Chambers, who's made a living on the line in this first period.
Tommy's having a nice game. When he was drafted out of the University of Utah, he was a major big-time center. Went down to San Diego. They played him at big forward and small forward, and his game really blossomed when he moved up the Seattle area.
Chambers now with 8 points in the game, has hit all 6 of his free throws. And now playing for the final shot of the first period are the East Stars. Mark Price. This is long range. Kareem. Mullen by way of Worthy. And Mullen is fouled by Mark Price, and he'll shoot him with 5 seconds to go. Here's a guy who makes his living in this Astrodome, Warren Moon, the fine quarterback of the Houston Oilers. But Gilby, let's talk more about Chris Mullen. Not only the comeback, but what he has meant to the Golden State Warriors.
Don Nelson right now is playing 4 guards. Teagle at 6'5", Mullen at 6'5", Richmond at 6'5", Garland at 6'1", and anchoring it with a 6'7" center. You can only do that if you have people with great vision. And Don Nelson told us that right now, this young man, Chris Mullen, is one of his all-time favorite players that he's ever coached. He has incredible court vision, great unselfishness, is never in a hurry to do anything, and very seldom will ever take a bad shot.
And there were questions about his pro ability, you remember, as well. He answered those, as did Mark Price, who misses the last shot of the first period. Just the start of things, but the West with a 16-point lead, their biggest of the game, and a high-scoring affair it is. After one period, we're in the books in Houston.
CBS Sports coverage of the NBA All-Star Game is sponsored by Wheaties. The natural goodness of 100% whole grain makes Wheaties the breakfast of champions. Minute Maid Orange Soft Drink, the orange of the NBA. And by Jeep and Eagle, official vehicles of the NBA.
The scene is the Astrodome, part of the big NBA All-Star Weekend in the city of Houston. CBS Sports presenting the 39th annual All-Star Game. Dick Stockton and Hubie Brown and Pat O'Brien and James Brown with us today, and there is the crowd of 44,000 plus, and a man who really needs no introduction.
Now, all the accomplishments. Only 2 players in the NBA have ever started in this game 11 consecutive times, and that Dr. J and Bob Pettit from the old Hawks.
James Worthy on the steal, feeds Clyde Drexler. That's quite a distinction. Substitutions in the game. Mark Jackson of the New York Knicks in the backcourt. He's teamed with Ewing. Brad Daugherty of Cleveland also in there. Mark Eaton, the big 7'4" giant, in for Utah. And there's Mark Price fouled by Chambers. Oh, the 2 Knicks are in there at the same time.
I'm really happy for Drexler right now. Here goes Clyde Strong. That's one of his, slam and jam 'em and you name 'em. All right, and he was in the finals yesterday in a slam dunk. I'm happy for him because he grew up here on the south side and is really a playground legend in around Houston.
He sure is. Ewing misses. By the way, Kenny Walker of the New York Knicks won the slam dunk contest. So Chris Mullen, along with James Worthy, Chambers, Eaton, and Drexler. Drexler too far under the basket. So the backcourt again is Drexler and Mullen. That's work for the West. Jackson leaves it for Ewing.
Watch out.
You can get hurt that kind of way. And Michael Jordan on the bench right now. He scored 8 in the first period.
See, if you're a fan today and they throw all these lob passes, you're really very, very happy, okay? The only problem is if you're coaching one of these players and you're sitting at home watching on TV or in this building, you do not want to see a lob in traffic.
You think Rick Pitino right now went into another room when he saw that play?
I think he'll remind Mark Jackson about this when they meet up on Monday.
He says, guys, we're in first place in the Atlantic Division. That's not spoil a good thing. Patrick Ewing misses both free throws, and Drexler. Chambers going strong, stuffs it through. 10 points for Tom Chambers. He and English lead the West, and Barkley, who is still on the bench, has 11 points to top the East. Jackson, and the rebound by Worthy. Chambers filling the lane. Good feed. No, stolen by Jackson. They were looking for Mullen.
Yes.
Behind, under the legs, leaving for Price. Nance picks up his own miss. 51-33. The West had it up to 20. The West has dominated this game.
Well, they're looking inside to try to take advantage of Price on Mullen.
Chambers again. 12 points. Does he want another MVP?
You know what I like about Tommy? Never mind the fact that he's scoring all these points. He's doing a great job on the boards at both ends of the floor.
And a 20-second timeout called by the East.
On this possession, you'll see the shot go up, and here's Tommy being very active, coming in strong, can release with either hand, left or right. What I like what he's doing down there at Phoenix, you know, they do not have that many experienced players, especially guys with playoff experience, and he's a great aid to show these young guys how to work and work hard.
They're the most improved teams. They all have played extremely well this year, and there's the man who deserves so much credit. He doesn't like to hear it, though. He's, I think, embarrassed by it, but you've got to credit David Stern to make this thing a gigantic show.
Well,
in the league, to say the least.
Well, think about it. Back when he took over, only 6 of the 23 teams were making money. This year, from what I understand, there are only going to be a few that are not going to be in the black.
Pretty good.
I think that's what it's all about, isn't it, business?
That's what they said. Kevin McHale is checked in for the East. Mark Jackson to Doherty, lost the ball, and a 4-on-2 again. Fast breaking to their heart's delight. There you go. Clyde Drexler from Worthy, and those two have teamed up for a couple of nifty fast break baskets thus far.
I think we were worrying about the team with the white shirts that they didn't have another point guard.
Mark Price, long range. You know, except for Barkley, the East has not been able to work the ball that much inside. And Jackson will be fouled by Chambers. That'll be 3 on Tom.
Here we have Worthy doing his thing, coming down on the break. You must get to James because he can hit the stop and hit the jumper. Here's Clyde doing it.
And a timeout, 9:32 to go in the first half.
Get the box! Get the poster! 1, 2, 3, 4! Michael Jordan, free posters on Wheaties boxes. Get the box! Get the poster!
When Clyde entered his sophomore year in high school, he did not play that year. He went out and he said they were running and he was so exhausted. He said, I almost passed out. I said, really? He said, yeah. He said, I quit. I said, Clyde, come on. I said, you have to do this, you know, if you want to make it. The following year, he went out first one, and he's been going ever since.
And you know, this is a special day because Clyde always wanted to play in the Astrodome because he has watched films of that Kareem Big E battle in '68 many times.
Well, Clyde, we said earlier, the playground legend, Sterling High School star, University of Houston, 2 Final Fours, and left at the end of his junior year and has never looked back. Has been a tremendous star for the Portland Trail Blazers.
Mark Jackson shooting the free throws now. Kevin Duckworth, wearing 00, has come into the game for the West All-Stars, most improved player last year, also playing with the Portland Trail Blazers. So they got a couple of big people in Eaton and Duckworth up front, and the rest of the lineup is Worthy, Mullen, and Drexler. Jackson misses both tosses, but wins the fight for the loose ball.
That's what Mark Jackson's all about.
Did he really challenge Eaton at 7-4? I don't believe it. Here comes Clyde. The glide, and no basket. I can't believe Mark Jackson. He has no fear.
Mark Jackson is the type of guy that he can be 2 for 16 in the last 6 minutes of the game, go 8 for 8 with about 7 assists and 3 steals.
You know, the West is on a 12-2 run in the last 4.5 minutes. They have their biggest lead right now of 22 points. Mark Price of Cleveland leaves it for Kevin McHale. Rebound is Eaton. You know, this is the first time in 10 years we've had as few as one Boston Celtic in the All-Star game. They didn't have anyone representing them 79. Good hook shot baseline. Kind of a sky hook by Kevin Duckworth. Jackson quickly back down for the East. McHale semi-mugged, and it's going to be East ball still.
Well, with Eaton in there at 7'4", Duckworth at 7 foot, Worthy at 6'9", you're not bad up front.
Lenny Wilkins talking things over with Dominique Wilkins as Larry Nance connects, and it's 57-35. Wilkins trying to find the right combination to bring the East back and make this a semblance of a contest. The West have had their way.
Yes, but you want to give everyone their time.
And then the second half, as you said, that was James Worthy. Mark Price, double team, now Mullen. No one inside. It's just strictly perimeter right now. Now Doherty camps in. McHale, familiar move by Kevin.
The best. When you talk about people who can play with their back to the basket with all types of moves, Kevin McHale is right there. Has at least 4 or 5 pets, and they're all very difficult to defend.
Worthy looking inside to Duckworth. Gets his own rebound. Blocked by McHale. Good block by Kevin. And there is Mark Jackson. Drexler tries to block it, and Jackson uses his body to get to the basket.
Not only did he use his body, he used the rim that time to dissuade Drexler from going for the block.
And Drexler tries a dramatic shot inside, out of bounds. It'll be the East ball again. This is what's going on inside the blimp. Boy, I hope Aaron Jenkins is our pilot in the blimp, and I hope he's piloting the plane and not taking too many free throws.
Nice.
1 for 1 for Aaron. McHale. Inside, and we'll have a foul against the West. Eaton might have pushed him. Kevin slowly getting up. The Celtics leading scorer with Larry Bird out of there. Here's John Stockton, who set an all-star record with 9 assists in the first quarter, and Clyde Drexler goes out. He scored 4 points. Michael Jordan back in there. Jordan has scored 8. Charles Barkley, the leading scorer for the East with 11, also is checked in. Eaton the rebound on Jordan's miss.
East, they're leaving all their jump shots right on the front of the rim. But to be fair with them, no team has had a chance to work out in this one.
Duckworth is fouled going in. Tom Chambers with 12 points is the top scorer in the game.
Keep an eye here now underneath on Barkley. Look at this. Do you think he wants his offensive board? I think he wants to back up his statement of I want 10 boards today.
He may get his wish.
Back inside the Dome, the West leads the East 59-39, and hope you're enjoying the NBA All-Star Game, and we think you'll enjoy the Prudential at the half today. We have a few college scores and notes to catch up on. Then we'll take you right on the court and show you yesterday's Legends game, 3-point shootout, and slam dunk contest. And who is Frank Layden, and why was he here? A lot of people wondered that over the weekend, and we'll explain that and more on an all-star edition of the Prudential at the half. And Dick and Hubie, it's been quite a week. Where have you guys been? We never see each other at these events.
Well, you're one place, Pat. You have your hands full working, and Hubie and I, what do we do, Hubie? What do we say?
I know they called it interviewing, meeting, and bumping, socializing.
Glad handing? Huh?
Yes, right. A few.
You know, it's interesting, but we do, and you mentioned this to me before the game, we have an opportunity to see a lot of people that we don't see normally during our circuit around the league.
Absolutely, and it's nice to get the views of everyone of how the different ball clubs are doing and why they are doing it.
1 free throw for Duckworth that time. Bring you up to date on who's in there because they all wear the same. The East wears red, the rest wears white. Brad Daugherty is the center from Cleveland. Kevin McHale of Boston. Barkley of Philadelphia in there. Jordan of Chicago and Price of Cleveland. That's the team for the East. For the West, Karl Malone of the Utah Jazz and Akeem Olajuwon of Houston up front. Dale Ellis from Seattle, Alex English, who just missed that shot from Denver, and John Stockton of Utah. Those are the 5 in there. The basket and the foul by Akeem Olajuwon.
We just had a great defensive play by Barkley and blocking that shot by Alex on the baseline. But you'll see the block. Now on the release, watch how Olajuwon is moving to get the ball, and it comes back up strong now. What I like about Akeem, every time he makes his move to the basket when he's inside of 6 feet, he's going with both hands. Because even if you knock him, he's still got a chance at a 3-point play.
Making his 3rd start in a row as the center for the West. Barkley clashes bodies with Karl Malone. No pads, remember that?
Now wait a minute, speaking about guys who can draw fouls, this guy's right at the top of the league. First, we have Karl Malone, who's averaging 11+ foul shot attempts in a game, and then Barkley at 10+.
What about the Sixers? As you look at Barkley, are you surprised that they have been above water as much as they have this year and playing as well?
It's a great tribute to Charles Barkley, what he is doing, and then also the addition of the 2 fine shooters in a trade with Anderson from Indiana at the small forward position, and also Hershey Hawkins as a rookie. And then how about the coaching job by Jimmy Lynam and his staff? When you think that they have not had Cliff Robinson the entire season because of a knee problem, boy, that really underscores what they're doing.
63-40.
Hey, Carl.
Karl Malone with a hook shot in the lane. The rebound by Jordan. Jordan and company trying to bring the East back with just about 6 minutes remaining in the first half. Kevin McHale is just not falling for the East Stars. They've had opportunities. Ellis feeding Karl Malone. They are really running on the break beautifully thus far. Mark Price goes for a 3. Out of bounds. Frustration thus far, all-star frustration I should add, for Laney Wilkins, seeing his team really not getting underway as Isaiah Thomas checks in for Mark Price for the East. Wilkins said, this is a golden time for me. He says, what does it mean that you're in the All-Star game? He says, Cavaliers must be having a good season.
Yeah.
Olajuwon, no good. Malone, Karl, good. 12 points for Karl Malone. He's tied with Tom Chambers for the West scoring lead. Prince Charles of the East has 12. And a foul against the East All-Stars. And it'll be against Stockton, excuse me.
You know, you look at Karl Malone, you see him running the lane. He has been out now on 4 fast breaks. 6'9", 260. It's like he's made out of steel. He's worked so hard on his body, and he's just so proud of it because he said, I'm working hard, I feel I have the strength, and I also have the dedication. And you know, it's kind of simple except for one thing. You know, he really believes it, he means it, and he's just backed up 2 sensational seasons.
Well, you have coached in the league, and those aren't cliches because it takes a certain special guy to have that dedication night in and night out.
Well, he feels so strongly about Frank Layden and the fact that he gave him his chance in Utah, and he wears Frank's name on the back of his sneakers. I mean, that's all it. He's a very, very genuine young man.
1 free throw that time for Isaiah Thomas. Great feed from 2 teammates, John Stockton to Karl Malone, who now with 14 points. Stockton's playing a brilliant game in place of Magic Johnson, who's hurt. Kevin McHale comes back quickly. We still have not had the continual end-to-end pace that we know we will before this game is over. Inside to Karl Malone, guarded by McHale.
Well, all-star games are played in peaks and valleys.
Dale Ellis, who won the 3-point contest, hits a 3 right here. And the West with a big lead of 72-43.
Look out. Stockton at his best. He's right in the top of the league in steals. Everyone knows that, except he's also there right challenging with steals.
29-point lead. Barkley again. Barkley again. 3rd time's a charm.
He ripped that one right away from Akeem.
Inside. Good position for Karl Malone, and McHale blocks it, but there is an East foul as Moses Malone, who started the game at center, comes in for the East.
Watch Charles in the lower part of your screen. He just pushed Alex out of there and took that one. Watch it, rip that one right away from Akeem. Goes strong.
Brad Daugherty leaves the game, and he's replaced by Moses Malone, and Kevin McHale has picked up his 3rd personal foul. So Tom Chambers of the West and McHale of the East, each with 3. What about the Utah Jazz? A lot of people think when all the dust is cleared, we get to playoff time, Utah could be the Lakers' biggest challenger. What are your thoughts?
Well, the big three do it night in and night out. And by that I mean Karl Malone, John Stockton, and Thurl Bailey off the bench. They really have three outstanding players there. It's an excellent shot blocking team, and they are the toughest team to have a high field goal percentage against in this league. And so anytime you have that going for you and you're unselfish, you get out on a break, you can challenge.
Thomas, scoop shot doesn't go. English with the rebound. Under 4 minutes to go in the first half.
Look at this.
Watch out. Hakeem to Karl Malone. Hakeem could have taken the shot and he passed it off. That's what they try to do in games like this.
Wasn't that pretty? I mean, first of all, John Stockton just made a 50-foot pass right on the money. Hakeem makes a catch, gives a nice shovel pass. That's beautiful to see.
But it's a 31-point game and nothing beautiful in the eyes of Lenny Wilkens.
Here's the pass. Here you go with Hakeem. Now look at this. Seeing Karl Malone. And once again, Karl Malone running that outside lane.
He's got 18 points and is the game high scorer as we take a timeout.
The first time I started playing, we was fishing on Coney Lake, and they found, I guess what you call a volleyball, and they brought it home, and they put him up a goal to the house to play. Well, they played with it a while, and then it found on the seam, it busted. And so I took it and gonna pack it with some old pantyhose, but see, that still it wouldn't bounce, you see. And so finally I bought him a basketball. At the time, if it had been a post laid up there all the time, they probably would have shot high for the night, you know. But you'd hear him, that ball boom, 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 all, you know, on into the night.
Here we have two guys, teammates, executing the pick and roll just beautifully. Stockton clearing the pick and roll. Nice two dribbles, allowing the defense perfect roll. Karl Malone, think about it, 85, the 13th pick on the first round.
Somebody could have had a gem earlier. Michael Jordan, there's the East coaching staff. Dick Helm, Brian Winters, and the head coach Lenny Wilkens. English with a turnaround. And the rebound by Moses Malone. The East has a long way to come back, but there is plenty of time. 3:23 to do, and Kevin McHale scores the record for the most points in a half. And there's a steal. Again, Michael Jordan to Moses Malone on a turnover, and the East in a flurry right now. It's still a 76-51 game. You got to start from somewhere. The record is 86 points by the West in the first half of the 62 All-Star games. That was a game in which Will Chamberlain scored a record 42 points in a losing cause. Hakeem draws the foul inside.
Here's why Michael Jordan leads the league in steals. Great anticipation, playing the passing lane, then comes back and makes something happen right here. Beautiful pass. The one part of the game that they just never give enough credit to in regards to Michael Jordan's total picture, and that is his uncanny passing ability to put the ball on the money.
Hakeem Olajuwon makes 1 out of 2. The foul was on Jordan, Moses Malone, his first. Isaiah goes right by John Stockton as if he weren't there. So they have scored 8 of the last 10 points, the East Stars, and Barkley with a steal, trying to bring him back. 2:43 to go, and we'll have a foul on the West. They're in the penalty. Foul is against John Stockton. So the East trying to get some back.
You know, when you look at John Stockton, you remember now last year he wins the All-State Good Hands Award, and that's for assists and steals minus turnovers. Very tough award to win.
Goes out with his 3rd personal foul and is replaced by Clyde Drexler. Charles Barkley on the free throw line.
Well, they're taking him out of the game right now because they know that they're going to need him in the second half.
Barkley is the leading scorer for the East with that many points and 4 rebounds. Remember the promise. He told his teammates he'll come back with 10 or more off the glass.
You know, I kind of question the fact that he only has 4. It looks like he has that double figures.
I know. Well, we'll have to go to the archives and check to see. He makes another steal, the second. And the West gets it back. Olajuwon, they think it's a soccer game. Hakeem Olajuwon.
A big man's dream, right in the middle of the floor. Nice interception, coming at you 3-on-2.
He doesn't do all that with Don Chaney's plan all the time. Thomas. It'll still be East possession.
See, in the first half, it just seems like the East is struggling because everything is hard to do. Everything is difficult.
And for the West, with all the fast breaks, it's the opposite. Michael Jordan, still East ball. Drexler touched it last. Chris Mullin, Golden State. Right now, if the season were to end, they would be in the playoffs. Moses Malone.
Nice pass.
Has it slapped away, and now the turnover, and it'll be the West with 2:08 remaining in the first half. We're at the Astrodome in Houston, Texas. 44,735. An all-star game record. They doubled Drexler, or tried to. Michael Jordan playing safety position out there, free safety.
Well, they need a little, how should I say, flurry from the defensive end of the floor to get things going here. In the second half, plenty of time.
Isaiah Thomas just inside the three-point line. Ellis the rebound. Drexler finds Karl Malone. Quick pass to Akeem. Outlet pass, McHale with those long arms and an easy unmolested basket. No, not Isaiah, but Michael Jordan.
That was so pretty because Zeke never turned around to take a peek. He knew he was coming down behind him.
20-second timeout called by Pat Riley.
Watch Isaiah now. Watch his head. See, he knows he's behind him. He just throws it up there. Ah, beautiful.
And it's great to see those two doing it, particularly.
Nice pitch out by Kevin McHale to make it happen. See Zeke, he knows he's behind him.
That's what you can do in these all-star games. And the East on an 11-3 run in the last 3 minutes have cut the lead now. From 31 now down to 23. Isaiah Thomas, most valuable player in this game in 1984 and 86. He has missed only 9 games in 6.5 years. I mean, he's not incredibly well built, but how durable, huh?
Oh, durable. And more important, he wants the last shot.
Clyde Drexler.
With Zeke, you never question his courage. He'll take the responsibility of winning or losing the game on his shoulders every night out.
Drexler almost does a run-over job on Isaiah Thomas and helps him up. We're at the Astrodome in Houston, Texas. The view courtesy of the Goodyear blimp, as we are here on CBS Sports for the 39th annual All-Star Game. 81-56 the score. The West has been fast breaking. The East has struggled a bit. Karl Malone with 18 is the highest scorer in the game. Barkley leads the East with 15. Drexler committed the foul and Thomas in the penalty shoot.
Isaiah Thomas and Magic Johnson are the 2 youngest players ever to play in this game. They both played at 20 years of age.
Brad Daugherty was the youngest last year and still may be the youngest. He and Mark Jackson are 23 years old. The East has connected on only 10 of 19 from the free throw line. Ten seconds on the shot clock. That's the first time he mentioned the clock today. And English from the corner. Jordan, forget it. And Ellis got a hand on it. The Eastern Conference shows a different look now that the Boston Celtics have struggled without Larry Bird. Right now, Boston is the 8th qualifier and 3 games behind Philadelphia. Now, New York, even though they are behind Detroit in the standings, would get a second slot if they win the Atlantic Division, where they're leading right now.
That means that Cleveland would play the 8th place team. New York would play the 7th place team. Even though Detroit has a better record. They would have the 3rd seed in the conference right now.
And now you get to the second round, and we're looking way ahead now. Now the records in the regular season do determine the home court advantage. But, you know, it's the Central Division. We talked about it last week in the Detroit-Chicago game. Really, 5 of the top 11 teams in the league are from that division. Dale Ellis misses Drexler. Finally makes good on his 3rd attempt.
Well, you have to be impressed. The West team really hustling on the offensive boards.
Isaiah Thomas lays it in. 8 points, so they've got 85 points, and the next basket for the West will break the record for most points in the first half, and it's 22 seconds, so it may get close. Olajuwon misses, tapped up and in by Ellis, and we've got an 87-59 game and a record set by the West All-Stars. 87 points, the most scored in a half in NBA All-Star game history.
At the East End, we're seeing an awful lot of sensational attempts, but no cigar.
Payoff not there. Out of bounds. It'll be the East ball with 4 seconds to play. A rousing 87-59 score. Lenny Wilkins will want him to have fun. He'll say, enough of the fun. Now maybe we'll play. That's the end of the first half with the score. West 87, East 59. Pat O'Brien will return with the Prudential at the half after this message.
Into the future, the standard has been set for quality and consistency. When you look for champions, you look to CBS Sports.
CBS Sports presents the Prudential at the half, sponsored by the companies of the Prudential. Come to the Prudential and build your future on the rock.
Looking down on the Astrodome in Houston, Texas, where they're halfway through the 39th annual NBA All-Star game. The West leads the East. They have a all-time record for scoring in the first half. And hello again, everybody. I'm Pat O'Brien. Welcome to a special All-Star edition of the Prudential at the half. This game, of course, is a lot of fun, but means nothing in the standings. But we have some college scores that do count, and let's get to them right now. Earlier today here on CBS, another #1 was picked off as Oklahoma beat Arizona 82-80. Stacey King with 24 points. This is the 4th week in a row that a #1 will fall. At Pauley Pavilion this afternoon, UCLA got by Louisville 77-75. Virginia has not won in Chapel Hill since 1981 as the Tar Heels rolled by the Cavaliers 85-67. In a Big Ten matchup late in the second half, Indiana leads Purdue 62-60. And North Carolina State's 17-game home winning streak ended today as the Runnin' Rebels ran by the Wolfpack 89-80. Well, earlier today here on CBS Sports All-Star Sunday, we showed you the Busch Clash. This year, Ken Schrader crossed the finish line first, and now it's on to the Daytona 500. Well, things began to pick up speed around Houston yesterday as thousands of fans packed the Summit for All-Star Saturday. You know, this is one of those days basketball fans dream about. But don't go to sleep on us. We're about to show you the real thing. If you had a ticket to get inside the Summit, you had a ticket for the greatest basketball sideshow around. Something for everybody, guaranteed.
Well, today I think the big attraction for me are to see the greats from the past.
Slam dunk. Yeah, definitely the dunk. In England, the NBA is like, the NBA players are like gods. So we're here. This is heaven to us. It's like we're in heaven.
First up, 3 decades of NBA history. Living legends in the Classic. There's the Big O, who was league MVP in 1964. You remember that year. The greatest starting 4 in rock and roll arrived. The jewel of the 70s, Earl the Pearl Monroe. You remember his era. You had to wait in line for gasoline before you waited in line to see him play. And representing the modern era, Bobby Jones. You remember the modern era. It just ended. Well, they still tried some of the old moves, sort of. The memories came back quickly, and they found out early that Morgana is now into older men. Hot Rod Huntley's game never returned. Don Chaney and Clifford Ray nursed those aging wheels, and this is the shoe of Congressman Tom McMillan. Maybe he should have voted for that pay raise. The game story, all Calvin Murphy. First half, 3 3-pointers. 17 points in the first half. But in the closing seconds of play, the East needed a play. They were down by 1. And sure enough, Bobby Jones forces the turnover, gets down on the break, gets the bucket, and a foul put the East up by 2. 6 ticks on the clock, 2 points down. The West turn for a miracle. Mike Newland scrambles for the ball. Calvin Murphy puts in a 3, wins the game and the MVP trophy right there in front of his hometown fans.
I mean, it's just unbelievable that I had a chance to be the hero at home in front of all my home people. I had 40 tickets that I gave out tonight.
The three-point shootout was next. This event was on the verge of being renamed Larry Wins, but he's not here this year. In a glasnost move, they invited the Russian Olympian, but he was gone before you could say perestroika. In the end, it was Dale Ellis. He had the hot hand, last year's runner-up, this year's three-point champion. Well, the showcase event was this year without Air Jordan. 2 other former champions also sat this one out due to injuries. And that left little Spud Webb, the only former champion, to try and repeat. And he set the tone early. Folks, when you are 5'7" and can do this, win or lose, you get a replay. Hometown favorite Clyde Drexler was on most everybody's mind to maybe win it all. He certainly impressed Dr. J and the judges, and he got to the final. But in came Kenny Walker of the Knicks, Michael Jordan's replacement. He had some big dunks to fill indeed, and he went right to work. And before long, Clyde Drexler was saying, maybe next year. Walker had a meeting before his final dunk. Kenny's father passed away only days ago, and he vowed to win it for him. This one's for you, Dad.
People say, what are you going to do? You know, a lot of people thought that it was too much in my mind, but I felt like that he was here with me all along. I'm just glad that I won it for him.
When we come back, a tour of All-Star Week with one of the biggest guys around. Well, it used to be anyway. Frank Layden's look at the festivities as At the Half rolls on galactically after a commercial and a word from your local station. Spectacular pictures provided today by the Goodyear blimp. The weather here, we've gone from ice to cold to rain to heat. But the sun came out today. The West leads the East 87-59. In the House of Pain, the Astrodome, and a record crowd today. Somebody said they actually cited Elvis Presley in the building. We don't know if Elvis is in the building, but we will keep looking. We do know that Frank Layden is in the building. In fact, Frank's been here for several days. This time around, however, Frank's got an identity problem. He doesn't have one.
Well, it's great to be back at the All-Star game right here in Houston. I bet you all the guys can't wait to see me, huh?
The joint was jumping with All-Stars, but I noticed one of my main buddies was missing, Irving Magic Johnson.
Hey, Magic. Sorry to hear you can't be here, buddy. Yeah. Who's this? This is Frank. Frank Layden. Coach Frank Layden. Your coach, 1984. You were my captain. Hey. No, don't hang up. Hold it. Hey.
At the All-Star game, you can make many new friends, especially with the heavy hitters.
Geez, Wayne, how you doing? Wayne Emery. Hey, the Cavaliers having a great year, huh? Do you think you can fit me in a little bit?
I don't think
somewhere?
So. No way, buddy. No way.
You think I can't help you?
No way.
It was a tough day, and I needed better luck at Friday night's big ball.
No more rehearsing and nursing apart. We know every card by heart.
Hey, Don Nelson. God, you're doing a great job with the Warriors this year.
Hey, Frank.
Yeah. Hey, Don, Is there any way you could use me? Is there something I could do with the Warriors? Anything I could do to help you?
Geez, we're rolling along. We really can't use you. I'm sorry.
Now, most people show up on Saturday to see all the slam dunks. But for me, it's a day to meet up with old, dear, and wonderful friends.
Hey, Hubie Brown. My old classmate. How you doing?
Terrific. How
Good.
are you, Frank?
Hey, remember all the great times we had at Niagara together?
Frank, we never had any good times.
Never?
Never.
The big call finally came. I was going to coach the Celtics. But these guys didn't quite look like the Celtics. Geez, I get a shot, and they send me the wrong team. Maybe I just need to find a new business.
I don't know. Maybe show business. That's where it is.
Break a leg, Frank. That's it for us. Dick Stockton and Hubie Brown are set to bring you the second half. Strap yourself in for the best part of the All-Star game. I'm Pat O'Brien. Thanks for joining us on the Prudential at the half. Enjoy the second half here on CBS.
The Prudential at the half has been sponsored by the companies of the Prudential. Come to the Prudential and build your future on the rock.
Yo! This is Morris Blackman, and this is my main man, Michael Jordan. And this is a pair of tight Air Jordans from Nike. This is something you can buy. And this is a patented, vicious, high-flying 360 slam dunk. This is something you cannot do. Let me repeat myself. This you can buy. You cannot do this. Can. No!
Now you too can get an official NBA All-Star program filled with full-color action photos and great articles. You'll read about all the happenings from the spectacular All-Star weekend, as well as outstanding highlights of All-Star history. To order, send $7 to NBA All-Star Program, Post Office Box 1750, Grand Central Station, New York, 10163. Send for your official All-Star program today.
CBS Sports coverage of the NBA All-Star Game is sponsored by the Heartbeat of America, Today Chevrolet, Nike, who remind you to just do it, and by Delta Airlines. We love to fly, and it shows.
It's the big All-Star weekend in Houston, Texas, the NBA's Big Bash. CBS Sports brings you the 39th annual NBA All-Star Game from the Astrodome in Houston, Texas. At the conclusion of today's game, a panel of writers and broadcasters will select the Miller Lite Most Valuable Player, and in conjunction with the award, Light Beer will present a check in the amount of $5,000 in the player's name to the Texas Special Olympics. Miller Brewing also made a special presentation earlier today when Robert Toledo, Vice President of Brand Management, presented a $5,000 check to Dennis Poulos, Executive Director of the Texas Special Olympics, in the name of Michael Jordan, top vote getter in this year's All-Star fan voting. Miller Brewing will soon be initiating efforts in the state of Texas to raise $1 million for the Special Olympics, and today's $5,000 donation is the down payment towards their $1 million effort. Hubie Brown had just had a chance to talk to Lenny Wilkens, and I said, well, you know, it won't count against your record with the Cavaliers if you don't win this game. He says, you know, it's shooting terribly. It's 41%. He says the combinations may be right, but they're not going in, and they're not getting back against the fast break.
Well, we said at the top of the show, you always worry about defensive balance, but you can't go to the foul line, miss 11 foul shots, shoot 40%, and only have 2 of your regulars do anything at all. Barkley and Michael Jordan have nice stats, but give the credit to the West. They have been unselfish. They're running the floor. Karl Malone, Dale Ellis really doing it, and then Tommy Chambers off the bench with a big 12.
Those are the people to watch. Malone with 18, Ellis 14, 2 others in double figures. The West starting team is in there. The East has a different group from the 5 that started the game. Next time they have the ball, we'll fill it out for you. John Stockton misses outside, fighting inside, and getting nearly the basket was Akeem Olajuwon. That looked like it might go in. Steele, they were all over Ewing, who gets called for the goaltending.
Well, it's been the story of the game. The East keeps getting second shots, but they're not making any field goals, but the West makes everything count.
Isaiah Thomas with the ball and Michael Jordan at guard. McHale, Wilkins, and Ewing up front. Ewing tries to slam it through to no avail, and here comes the West again. Look at this. Karl Malone around McHale. Look like they're getting every second shot as well, Hubie. Ellis that time. Karl Malone. Rebound. Ewing. Michael Jordan to Dominique Wilkins. A brilliant pass. No-look pass. Let's take a look at the Eastern scorers thus far, led by Charles Barkley with 15. He has 4 rebounds. Nance leads the rebounding with 5. Dominique Wilkins is on the line. Wilkins was born in France. His dad was in the Air Force. Did not compete in the slam dunk contest, Dominique, yesterday because of the thumb problem.
He said he made his first dunk in the 9th grade when he was 5'8". I always thought he could dunk forever.
When he was an infant.
Yeah, late bloomer.
And that pass goes awry. So the East right now looking like they're still out of sync passing wise. Turning the ball over. 89-62 the score, as the West with 87 points set an all-star record in the first half. Most points in the first half of a game. Crowd filing back into their seats now after the halftime intermission period. There's a nice steal by Wilkins. He anticipated Ellis's pass. Michael Jordan to Dominique Wilkins. That's a combination that could bring the East back.
The last 2 trips down, Michael has made 2 beautiful passes on semi-spins.
Got to be a slow comeback if the East is to make one at all. They've won 7 of the last 9 games in the All-Star affair. 6 on the shot clock. Dale Ellis in the corner gets Karl Malone. And he's fouled by Patrick Ewing. Let's take a look at the West scorers. 4 players in double figures. The top rebounder is Karl Malone. He's off to a terrific start. And keep in mind, John Stockton had 9 assists in the first quarter and 10 in the game.
Well, the West shoots 60%, and they also shoot 87 from the foul line, making 14 out of 16. Kind of helps the situation.
Yeah, the East was 4 for 14 on the line in the second quarter alone.
Always when you come back, you must come back on the foul line and the gimmies, the easy shots.
Kevin McHale of the Celtics, Patrick Ewing of the Knicks, and Dominique Wilkins of the Hawks, the front line. Thomas of the Pistons, Jordan of the Bulls. Watch out from behind, Akeem and Isaiah playing free safety. Comes right back. Goes by Stockton, goes by 3 others, goes by everyone, gets the layup.
Nice stutter move by Zeke that time. I want to say something about Akeem Olajuwon. Everybody takes him for his scoring, his rebounding, and his shot blocking, but he is second in the NBA in steals to Michael Jordan.
For a center, that's phenomenal. There's a steal by another center, Patrick Ewing. Isaiah Thomas surveying the land. McHale, short that time for Patrick Ewing. Karl Malone. Stockton, Ellis, Alex English. The way he leans forward. There is Akeem Olajuwon with a turnaround stuff. He's in double figures with 10. 92-66. No contest at this point, and Michael Jordan slides through to his 14th point. Ellis. You know, you've talked so much about spacing. I think the West spacing has been great offensively, spreading everything out.
They're running the lanes well, and Stockton is pushing the ball. He's forcing them to get out and open up. But you must like the rebounding. 1 shot for the East. They get the ball out. There they go.
You know, that was a 4-on-1. That might have been the easiest fast break the West had all day. And they lost the ball. McHale, Wilkins. Can you believe this?
Stockton gave Dominique a little hip action that time. But Dominique, to be fair to him, he's having a lot of difficulty holding on to the ball at the right hand. It's the right thumb. Consequently, he can't get up to really dunk.
Dale Ellis quickly turns it around. Rebound by McHale. It's a 24-point game. Great pass to Jordan. Is that Thomas?
That was a highlight. Oh, baseball, 1 skip pass.
And the 2 of them with a medium 5 on that one. That was a great 1 bounce pass.
Watch how he threads the needle here. Now you'll see the rebound. Here's Kevin kicking out to Zeke as he looks up. There you go. The long bounce. One skip hop. Who was your favorite shortstop?
I was an Alvin Dark guy, I have to tell you.
All right. I like that.
Whenever they went out to play, the people whom we played with will come and tell me how brilliant he was. The coach in Angola saw him, saw his activities, how he's playing. He was there. He advised him that he will have to take him to abroad.
That's phenomenal. Parents in Lagos, Nigeria have to be so proud of what Akeem has accomplished in professional basketball. That's a great treat to see them talk here.
In such a short period of time, you know, his family runs a cement business, and you look at Akeem, he's all NBA, all defense the last 2 years in a row, first team.
John Stockton feeding Olajuwon, and Akeem hits from outside. 12 points for Olajuwon. 96-72, 24-point lead. McHale at the top. Now the basket's starting to come for the East. They're shooting much better, as you knew they would.
Well, Kevin had a nice first half. He was 3 for 5 from the floor and a lot of key rebounds there for them. And they made that little run, semi-run.
Starting team for the West that began the game in there now. Here's Olajuwon again with 7 seconds on the shot clock. Ewing in his face. Malone, that's off the mark. Here's Isaiah Thomas. Nothing down court. 4 on 2. Beautiful pass to Ewing. And Patrick Ewing gets his second basket of the game.
That was a sensational fake by Isaiah. He looked to his right. Here we have Zeke throwing this ball on that one bouncer. But hey, how about the catch at the other end by Michael Jordan on the dead run? I don't know, Buddy Kerr.
Pee Wee Reeves. Out of bounds. It's still the West ball. Isaiah Thomas, by the way, with 11 assists in the game. So the starting point guards have done, and you pointed out, it's a ball handler's kind of game. Stockton and Isaiah Thomas both in double figures in assists. Alex English over Dominique Wilkins. Tough shot over Wilkins.
Wilkins was right there. As a matter of fact, you could hear the click. He really did get a piece of that shot.
McHale trying to work his way low post against Malone, and it's taken away by Carl.
Look at this. Look at him in the outside lane.
3 on 2.
Yes.
Basket counts and a foul. Stockton and Malone, and Isaiah Thomas winds up behind the press.
Come on. I mean, is he out there?
Yes, he is.
Whoa. Great play right here by Karl Malone. Now, as he gives it up, look how hard he's running in that outside lane. We told you in the first half he was on the end of 4 of these. Look at this.
21 points for Karl Malone. A lot of gifts from John Stockton as well. Kareem Abdul-Jabbar is into the game. He has yet to score. Was in briefly in the first half. 3-point play by Karl Malone. Kareem was in for 5 minutes. Actually, the West team has 4 centers. Olajuwon, Kareem, Eaton, and Duckworth on their squad. Turnover, and Boomer Esiason, Super Bowl runner-up Cincinnati Bengals, and a fine season for the Boomer this year. Charles Barkley enters for the West or the East All-Stars. Kevin McHale goes to the bench. Kareem, skyhook. Drexler follows it up. But I hope we see a skyhook from Kareem before this one's over.
I do too.
He's in for the volume of work, for the great work over the years. Forget about what he's done this season. He's starting to play a lot better. Said he didn't deserve to be here. No way he doesn't deserve to be here. Ewing fights his way in, and Kareem gets a piece of him.
How about Stockton? Stockton is so pesky. He's right down inside, reaching in, trying to grab everything. You know, he's only 6'1", 175 pounds.
but when you're watching him, his quickness of getting from the top of the one circle to the other end of the floor to the top of the other is as good as anyone in this league. Plus, the defensive player backpedaling knows that you must guard him because he will stop on a dime and take that three-point shot.
Here's Patrick Ewing at the line. Misses the first free throw. James Worthy, who hit all 3 of his field goal attempts in the first half, has come in for Akeem Olajuwon. Or make it Alex English. Kareem replaced Akeem. Rebound right into the hands of Thomas. Ewing struggling from the line in this game. Speeds Barkley for the 2.
Charles is having a monster game. He already has 17, and we think he has 15 rebounds.
They say 4.
They only had 4.
It's 4. It's 4. Still West ball. And the West, of course, already over the 100 mark. It's a 103-78 game. And Drexler of Portland will be feeding in. Karl Malone of Utah, Stockton of the Jazz as well, and 2 Lakers in Worthy and Kareem. Nine on the shot clock. Drexler looking in, and it's right into the hands of Michael Jordan. He wanted to go to Abdul-Jabbar. Stockton tried for the steal, but it'll be East ball. He's all over the floor.
He's everywhere. Stockton, the energy level is incredible. Now watch this pass by Patrick. Takes the defense up and it drops off inside to Charles. See what you see about Charles? He turned his body to the baseline that time. He's so smart because if you're going to block his shot, you must come over his back. You foul him, and then he takes you to the rim for the potential 3 points.
Karl Malone goes out with 22 points, the game high scorer, and Tom Chambers replaces him. Mark Price has gone in for that man, Michael Jordan, who goes out with 16. Thomas lost his footing and is called for the foul. So
I was concerned that time, Dick, because Isaiah stepped on a shoe of another player, and it looked like he twisted his ankle. He's all right.
He's got the smile on his face. There's the pass to the opposite side of Dominique Wilkins. Barkley fights for the loose ball.
And referee. I mean, he's doing everything. A little rebounding, a little refereeing, a little scoring.
103-78, under 5 minutes to go in the third quarter. Dick Stockton and Hubie Brown here in the 39th All-Star game. Ewing. The rebound is by Drexler. Worthy filling the lane on one side, Chambers on the other. And Drexler fights his way in. Second shot, 12 points for Clyde Drexler. Homecoming for Drexler. And he has 9 rebounds to boot. 3-point basket for Mark Price. They're the high scorers of the game, 105-81, 4:20 to go in the third period. East has won 7 out of 9. Westo trying to make it 2 out of 3. Another hook attempt by Kareem misses. He's trying to get back. Barkley says, I'll go for 3, and misses miserably. Drexler to Chambers. Price can't stop him, and Chambers with 14 points.
Yeah.
Now Thomas, they're going to bring Chris Mullen in, the West Stars. Dominique Wilkins. And it is not deflected.
Okay, that's right.
And now Dick Bavetta says it was. So here's Chris Mullen coming back in the game. John Stockton goes out. And Larry Nance comes in for Dominique Wilkins. The West is on an 11-4 run in the last 5 minutes. Moses Malone returns at center, replacing Patrick Ewing.
Moses has been in this game 12 straight years. The only year that he didn't make it was the first year of the merger.
Pretty good.
Yeah, everyone forgets. Everyone thinks Moses went to college. You know, he's straight out of high school into the NBA.
One of 3 ever to do it. Darryl Dawkins.
The ABA first, then the NBA.
But into pro basketball, Bill Willoughby and Darryl Dawkins were the other 2.
Right.
I want to clarify something while we have a moment here as we look at Isaiah Thomas. You remember the shot of Brendan Malone, and that Isaiah Thomas put his hands around his neck. I'm sure people saw it on the news highlights and sports highlights all of last week after the Chicago game. People were under the misinterpretation that Isaiah was going after Brendan Malone. He coached for you And that's not the case at all, is it?
What happened is that Brendan Malone and Isaiah Thomas are very close friends. And as Isaiah was walking down the floor, Brendan ran across the floor and kept telling him, Zeke, you cannot get thrown out of the game. You cannot get thrown out of the game. We need you. We need you. And because the game was going into overtime. And what happened was Isaiah, who was still really miffed that he was split open because he took 6 stitches that time, just wheeled and put his hands on him. And then when he snapped out of it, he bumped head with Brendan and said, Brendan, I'm sorry. He said, we need you. And it was great because it's a coach and a player understanding one another. It was just a reflex action by Isaiah.
It looked a lot worse than it was. Worthy misses a 3 and the rebound by Moses Malone. I'm glad we had a chance to set their record straight. Thomas!
Yes!
Who did he throw that to? It couldn't have been to himself. That was a nifty play. Fine play by Isaiah Thomas. Tries for the steal. Doesn't work. Chris Mullin hops and hits. Chris Mullin. Good outside shooter. And Don Nelson, when he was talking about Mullin, says, you know, that we need Mitch Richmond with him because the two of them operate well together. One without the other, not quite as effective.
That's right, feeding off one another because they can beat their people off the dribble and they can play inside or outside.
Larry Nance, former Phoenix Sun. 109-87. 22-point game. At one time, the West led by 31. The East trying to chip away with 2:28 to go. Here's a 3-point attempt by Kareem.
Why not?
Why not? And I root for the guy. You want them all to go in. Price comes back and nails 2. So now it's 109-89. So it's a 20-point game with 2:12 to go in the third period.
This unit out there trying to get by with Drexler and Mullin in the backcourt.
There's Worthy posting up. Price knocks it away. Nice. Mullin blocked. And it's off the knee of Worthy, and it'll be the East ball with 2 minutes to go.
Well, here we have Isaiah coming down. Now watch how he slows up, and then he passed the ball to himself and brought it right back.
Can you do that in the All-Star game?
Yeah, but how about the fact that he shot it with his left hand? Oh.
You've been hearing a lot of news recently about the importance of including whole grain in your diet. But of these leading cereals, only one is made from 100% whole grain. Only Wheaties. So Only Wheaties gives you whole grain nutrition. And maybe that's why Only Wheaties has Michael Jordan. Better get your whole grain.
You better eat your Wheaties.
It's 109-89. The West leading with 1:54 to go in the third period. A fine array of sports next week at 1 o'clock Eastern. CBS Sports Saturday takes you to Oslo, Norway for the Men's World Speed Skating Championships. Plus Simon Brown defends his IBF welterweight title against Jorge Masonet. Then it's the Daytona Twin 120 5s, followed by NCAA basketball, Kansas versus Duke next Saturday. Right now, let's go to James Brown. JB?
All right, Dick, with the man that many consider to be the best defensive back in the NFL, Ronnie Lott. Ronnie, they build these guys as the world's best athletes. Now, I know you're a great one yourself. Do you agree with that?
Yeah, I have to agree with that. I tell you, when I see some of these great athletes out here explaining these slam dunks and doing all the things they do, but probably the best athlete of them all is not here, and that's Magic Johnson. He does so many great things, and he's a friend of mine. I know you would love to be here. We've had a great time, Magic.
Well, all right. Talk about a good coach right here in Ronnie Lott. Let's go back to Dick.
All right, JB, thank you very much. By the way, Monday's the big day for Magic Johnson. He'll be examined by Dr. Robert Kurlan. Get an idea how long he may be out. Terry Cummings of the Milwaukee Bucks misses from the corner. And it's now the West ball. It could be as much as several weeks of that tear is more than just a partial tear. But on the other hand, things seem to be going well, according to Gary Vitti, the trainer, and he may be back sooner than people expect. The Magic. Man, Magic Johnson.
He's going with 2 small guards now, Price and Isaiah in the backcourt.
Inside to Moses Malone, and they'll jump it up. Tied up by Kareem. Michael Jordan on the bench has 16 points. Still Barkley with 17 is the East leading scorer. James Worthy. 109-89, 20-point game. Favor of the West. They've led virtually all the way. East had a 2-point lead in the opening moments, and that's been it for them. Kareem, sky hook. Still no cigar. Rebound Nance. team set this all-time scoring record in an All-Star game last year. Thomas misses. Moses Malone goes up again. That's what he's known for, the basket and the foul, Hubie. Well, we mentioned that Lenny Wilkens, of course, is going into basketball's Hall of Fame. So is Casey Jones, the great coach of the Boston Celtics, now the vice president of basketball operations. Those two, along with Pop Gates, who is part of the New York Wrens barnstorming teams of the 30s and 40s, the three of them headed for the Hall of Fame.
Well, Lenny Wilkens was so appreciative of the award. He wanted to go all the way back to his days at playing CYO ball, Holy Rosary and Father Mannion. That's how far he took us back.
Pretty good, yes. He went way back. Thomas on the steal, got the basket back. This is the first time that the East has been under 20-point deficit since a minute and a half of the second quarter.
In a game like this, there's plenty of time.
Always time. East is on a 13-2 run.
The building wants Kareem to knock down a hook.
And Isaiah Thomas stripped the ball away from Tom Chambers. Thomas to Moses Malone, stuffs it through with 6 seconds to go. 109-96. It's a 13-point game. Kareem, foul, going to the hoop with 2 seconds to go. And a chance to break into the scoring column in this game.
He had the block shot, beautiful block shot that time. Combination of Nance and Terry Cummings. Now you'll see Isaiah. Watch how they come right back down the middle to Moses. Nice.
I gave Thomas the credit for that, but you know what? I think he was the beneficiary of the loose ball by the two big men. Kareem gets his first point of the game.
Well, he's left a couple of the sky hooks right on the front of the rim. A few more opportunities, he'll get it done.
Played at this arena against Elvin Hayes in a game that perhaps put college basketball on the map in 1968. UCLA-Houston battle. And that'll do it for the third quarter. The East is coming back. That's the end of the third period with the score. The West 111, the East 96. And we'll return to the Astrodome after this message and a word from your local station. Skyline of the city of Houston, Texas. The NBA All-Star Weekend. And what a weekend it has been. Capped today by the 39th annual NBA All-Star Game. From the Astrodome in Houston, Texas, where a record crowd of 44,735 witnessing the 39th game. And the West has had the lead all the way virtually. The East, however, has cut the West's lead almost in half from their biggest margin of 31 points, 111-96 as we get underway in the final period. The West Stars have Mullen of Golden State, Drexler of Portland, Eaton of Utah, Worthy of the Lakers, and Chambers of Phoenix out there. And James Worthy hits.
All that good defense. The East actually came out in a little trap situation that time, but because they kept fooled around, they end up getting beat with a medium-sized jumper.
And a steal coming right back. Cummings, the only defender, and he makes the defensive play to Mark Jackson, who's in the backcourt along with Mark Price. Jackson of the Knicks, Price of the Cavaliers. Price is way short on the long-range shot. Moses Malone stays in there, center team from Atlanta. Drexler flies in for 2 more. He's got 14. 2 of the Cavaliers, Price and Nance in there. We haven't seen all 3 of them yet. Price misses. Eaton knocked away that time by Nance. It'll be the West.
Mark Price a little uptight with himself right now. Oh, come on.
Well, you know, she may put it in the bank for the West. You know, games have comebacks. I think it's a she. I don't know. 10 on the shot clock. Worthy. Drexler, straight pass.
Drexler has been moving exceptionally well this half. He's following every shot up that's coming off the board. But when they're hitting the pivot people, he is cutting very strong. He's got a lot of size on the guards.
Tom Chambers misses. Mullen tries to keep it alive, and Price gets it to Mark Jackson. Behind his back to Moses Malone. Double teamed. Eaton got a piece of it.
So you can pump fake all you want with Eaton. Eaton just stands there. He never leaves his feet, keeps his arms up, and then after you're finished with all of your moves, you make it, he just takes it away.
You don't think Pat Riley and the Lakers hate playing against that guy? Not to mention other teams, but he presents a huge problem.
Never mind the fact that he's 7'4". He's so wide.
Cummings with a nice turnaround is in the scoring column. Only Brad Daugherty, and Brad Daugherty really the only player who has not scored for the East. Mark Eaton hasn't scored for the West.
Nice steal.
Otherwise, everyone's in the column, and they'll call a foul against Clyde Drexler. Well, we took a look before at the Eastern Conference and that setup. Let's take a look at the West, where the Lakers still have the best record there, and Houston and Utah in a battle, and the winner of that division will automatically get that second seed. But look at Phoenix and Seattle. The Pacific divisions come on.
Oh, it is, and it's exciting right now because of the incredible job that Phoenix did. Seattle just coming off a long road trip, so they're going to be tough. But watch out now, because Houston has many, many road games in this next month coming up.
Kevin Duckworth and John Stockton have entered the game for the West.
Nice.
Beautiful pass. Mark Jackson, Larry Nance connect.
Beautiful pass. Mark Jackson, great eyes. He's bounced the ball through his legs here today, behind his back. Great court vision.
Broke Oscar Robertson's rookie assist mark, and then John Stockton, both of whom were our guests in the pregame, comes right back with 2. 117 to 100, 17-point lead, and another play. Mark Jackson to Cummings, and maybe Lenny Wilkins has the combination he wants.
Well, he was looking, and he's gambling, going with all point guards now in the second half. But they're getting the distribution of the ball.
Duckworth banks it off the glass. So every time the East starts to make a move, the West retaliates. Jackson for 2, just inside the line.
Like we said, how many shots have you seen Jackson take today? But now all of a sudden the game is getting close. Money's on the line. He's taking it.
Isn't that a fact? He has to be doing something right for the Knicks to have the phenomenal season they've had.
He's fronting down there, a little arm wrestling with Drexler.
Duckworth. Rebound Cummings.
Yeah, they get one now.
8:45 to go, a lot of time, and that pass just past Mark Jackson's stretched arm.
Watch on this pass area here. Now watch Mark turn, suck up the defense. Nice shovel pass. See, when you make them, you want to make it an easy shot for the recipient.
In his sophomore year in high school, they had a team made up of all sophomore kids throughout the city of Spokane, and they went back to Frankfort, Kentucky, and they got to play against some real good competition. And then the following year, as a junior, John went, and he played against Isaiah Thomas, who was playing for Chicago at the time. And they had a real duel. Isaiah won, but he played against the best juniors in the nation. And thought, well, he did all right against them, so he could play. And I think attitude-wise, that was a big stepping stone for him.
Well, we have Isaiah. Isaiah made a great compliment about John Stockton's game. He said he's a joy to watch and hell to play against.
And it was Stockton who broke Isaiah's single-season assist record. 2 of them have tremendous respect for one another, and out of Gonzaga, you know, and it looked like Utah really had the beeline for him. They really had scouted him out, knew what they wanted. And he comes and meets the ball.
Here's a trap.
And it worked. Cummings, Nance got it to Price, and the 2 Cleveland Cavaliers team up.
Hey, Lenny Wilkins, that little rascal, is going to half-court trap.
And he's using his own players to boot. Although Brad Daugherty is not in there, Moses Malone remains at center.
But he does the trap out of a timeout. That's nice.
James Worthy's had a big shooting game, tipped by Nance. Drexler, one-handed fall away. Who wants the ball? Mark Jackson. Behind his back a couple of times. Jackson takes it in. Out of bounds, and it is still East ball with 8:03 to go.
See, Lenny's taking a try. Here comes Nance up on the right side of your screen. They double team right at the half-court area. At each timeout, you'll see both coaches from now to the end of the game. They'll run a set play, and they'll run a specific type of a defense.
The lead is down to 13, and it could have been 11 had that fallen, and Akeem Olajuwon is checked in for the West All-Stars. Pounding the glass, Moses Malone gets it to Cummings. Mark Jackson to Moses behind him. Out of bounds, and it'll be East ball as Dale Ellis of the Seattle Supersonics comes in, and Clyde Drexler gets a breather. Riley is 2 and 4. Here's a steal. steal, this time by Mark Price.
Two of the best in the league at stealing off the dribble.
Cummings is fouled going to the hoop. You know, Pat Riley is 2-4 as a coach in the All-Star game, and not many guys even get to lose 4 games, huh?
Watch this steal. Here he comes. He gambles for the bounce. Beautiful. See, and what he did, he anticipated Stockton crossing over to switch from his strong hand to the outside hand that time.
Elijah Wan's foul, and they're going to bring Alex English of the Denver Nuggets coming in, replacing James Worthy, and Terry Cummings on the free throw line.
You know, we touched on Cummings earlier, Dick. You know, in talking to us, he said that, you know, he is revitalized. He feels he has a lot of energy, and he credits that to the development of Larry Krystkowiak, who has really taken off a lot of pressure on him because he can play the big forward some nights and get a little bit of a rest, where Krystkowiak will go out and chase these people at 6'10", and the front line is doing a great job.
Cummings, the second pick after James Worthy in the 1982 draft, picked by San Diego. 119 to 108, 11-point game with less than 7.5 to play in the fourth period. Nice. Ellis from Stockton. Dale Ellis. He has 18 points. Karl Malone with 22 leads the gang, and Mark Price is fouled going to the line. Houston, Texas, the scene of the big All-Star Weekend festivities. That's the Astrodome. And a record crowd, 44,700 plus inside, 121-108. The West had a lead as big as 31 points in the first half, and the East has chipped away. Can make it down to 11. That's as close as they've been since early on. Here's Brad Daugherty replacing Malone. So now, Hubie Brown, we have the 3 Cleveland Cavaliers in together for the first time today.
Are you hinting at something? Or what?
They know how to play together, and their coach is a Cavalier. Why not, right?
Why not?
2 free throws for Price. He has 9. 11-point game, and with 7:06, it's an incredible comeback for the East Stars. Cummings fouled Duckworth. Next Sunday, huge day on CBS Sports. The Boston Celtics against the Los Angeles Lakers, live at 3:30 Eastern time from the Forum. Rockets and the Cavaliers on Monday, February 20th. So we have 2 NBA games for you next week, and you'll get a chance to see the Cavaliers, the best team in the East, on Monday, and the Lakers, the best team in the West, on Sunday. Timeout with 6:56 remaining in the fourth period. Well, we have seen some of the spectacular in this 39th annual All-Star game, Hubie Brown, and it's interesting that the reason they keep score is because somebody wants to win the game, and now they've cut 20 points off the deficit from 31 to about 11, and now it's an interesting game, and I don't see the smiles on the face of the players anymore.
No, we have plenty of time. We have close to 7 minutes to go. And what I like now is that Michael Jordan is coming back in this ball game, and we all know that he does have a tendency to take over sometimes. And can do the magical as long as this, with the sensational. And he's going to get the calls in once we get into pressurized situations. We know that. But it's interesting that Lenny is pairing him up with Mark Jackson, because Mark Jackson is playing excellent basketball in this half.
He is setting a lot of people up and getting inside the paint. Stockton is all over Mark Jackson. Gambling was Dale Ellis. Jordan draws the foul and hits the floor as he is sandwiched between Duckworth and Karl Malone, or Akeem Olajuwon. Foul on Duckworth.
You know, you look at Michael Jordan's game and you say, you know, he takes a lot of shots, but here's a man who shoots 54% from the field and 84% from the line. And if you are going to have a guy take a lot of shots, let's have someone with those kind of credentials.
Who makes them. Karl Malone, you saw, came in. Malone replaced Duckworth. Isaiah Thomas is in for Larry Nance. So 3 guards in there now for the East, with Jackson, Thomas, and Jordan, with Cummings and Daugherty the only big people.
Well, they'll play Jordan at the small forward position right now, and they'll match him up with Alex English.
The Western 5, who started the game by virtue of the Miller Lite fan vote, are all in the game right now. 121-112, a 9-point deficit. Last time the East got it under 10 was 4 minutes to go in the first quarter, but John Stockton gets the big hoop.
See, that's what makes him special. Once he goes down that line, you can't jump back off of him because he can score.
Cutting to the basket is Jordan from Isaiah Thomas. He went backdoor around Alex English.
You always go backdoor and give that extra effort when you're playing with unselfish guys because you know the ball will be right there.
Winding down to the halfway mark in this fourth period. 6 minutes to go, 123-114. Here's Mark Jackson.
Oh, come on!
Fouled by John Stockton, and they can cut it now to 7 points, and the East has made one huge comeback here.
You'll see Isaiah here find it. There goes the back door. Beautiful bounce pass. You like to throw the bounce pass because it gives the cutter who's going back door. There's a defensive man between him and the passer. When the ball is bounced, that gives him an extra 100th of a second to pick it up off the floor.
John Stockton with his 4th personal foul, and here's Mark Jackson. The East have had their problems from the free throw line. This afternoon, they are 22 of 35.
See, when you're out there, you're a young player, and if someone tells you that you're a step too slow, please look at the guy on the foul line right now, because everybody's been telling them that ever since he's been playing the game. If you have a big heart and you see the floor and you can deliver the ball and play some defense, there is a place for you.
They didn't say Chris Mullen was very fast either. 2 St. John's teammates. Olajuwon and Doherty keeping away from the hoop. It did not take a good shot. Ellis' second effort, and the basket will count in a foul. Good defense by Brad.
Oh, excellent defense by Brad. He pushed Olajuwon behind the board. There was no way that that shot could go in. But once again, the second guards from the West, either Drexler or Ellis, on the offensive boards.
What about Seattle as Ellis is on the line? How do you look at that club right now?
Extremely good defensively. They've got their East Coast trips out of the way now. Playing great basketball at home. And, you know, they've got the necessary guys who can score on that ball club. And then when you have Xavier McDaniel coming off the bench, you got a hammer.
Turnover. And it'll be West ball. Cummings, by the way, for the East has 4 personal fouls. 126-116, so the lead is 10. It was 7 a few moments ago. Malone just inside the 3-point line, hits the basket. 24 for the game high scorer, Karl Malone of the Jazz.
If you've never seen Karl Malone play, you'd say, gee whiz, can he make that shot? He's always been able to hit that jumper face in the basket.
He led the West with 22 a year ago, and he's topped that in this game. No-look pass and a deflection into the hands of John Stockton. 4-on-1 to Dale Ellis. And the West seeing the challenge from the East now, trying to come back, and there's another turnover sparked by John Stockton. Karl Malone, his teammate, the basket good, and a foul as well. As Olajuwon hit the floor. Big play by the Jazz combo out there.
In this sequence now, watch how they run the floor. John Stockton at his best. See, he's got great eyes, good court vision, head up. Here you have Ellis, boom. Now, right back as they went the opposite way, Stockton makes a key play and made it happen again at the other end of the floor.
All right, look, I'm going to run a clear out for Michael. Just Isaiah, come down. Just pass it to the forward, slice off of Brad to the corner, all right? Give it back to Brad here, okay? Michael, you'll be down here, okay? The other forward's here, okay? You'll be here, the other guard is here, the guard is here. Come up to the screen, guard, go off. You're coming out.
Clear out for Michael.
Well, what they're trying to do is they want to get the ball in the hands of their best passer that they feel as a big man in Brad Daugherty. And that way they can get the center up high, and they'll try to clear out and pop Michael to the right side of the floor. Let's see if it happens.
Karl Malone on the free throw line. By the way, John Stockton has already chalked up 16 assists. The All-Star game record is held by Irvin Johnson with 22 assists in the '84 game, the game that went into overtime. So Malone missed the free throw, made the basket prior to that. It's 132-116.
Here's your clear out.
And there's Michaal Jordan's basket. Just as he drew it up. Is it that easy, Hubie,
yes,
the coach?
Course,
I didn't know that.
Players have nothing to do with it.
The West had scored 9 in a row after the East had cut the lead to 7. And then came Jordan's hoop. Inside to Akeem. Knocked away by Jordan. The steal by Isaiah Thomas. He's tied up. But Cummings on a 2-on-1. Gets it off the glass. He does that every day, right?
Of course.
Terry Cummings has 8 points.
Isaiah Thomas, yeah, smarting that time because there was a good collision at half court. Stockton almost restole that pass.
Lead is down to 12, 132 to 120. Dale Ellis buries one from outside. Ellis has 25. He is second to Malone with 26 in the game high score.
There are very few guys who can shoot catching the ball going away from the basket like Dale Ellis.
Good pass from Thomas to Mark Jackson, who hits a 3. You're right. You said it earlier. Gibby, you don't have to look at me with your arms out. I know you're right.
I tell you, talk about courage. He has courage to make the big play under pressure.
Karl Malone gets his own rebound and lays it in. 28 for Karl Malone. 136-123. 3:19 to go. Cummings short. Rebound by Ellis. We're getting into that MVP thought range, Hubie Brown, and we'll have to start thinking of that.
When you catch Terry Cummings in the middle here, now there's a light mad scramble. Now just watch as he looks left, gets it off the wrong foot, but then has the presence, knowing that because of the angle, he should bank in the shot. That is very hard to do from that angle.
So as we get close now, with 3 minutes just about remaining in this fourth period, you know that Karl Malone and John Stockton and Dale Ellis loom large for the West Stars for possible MVP. Stockton hits a 3. John Stockton only 11 points, but he has 16 assists in this game. (139-123). Jordan is the leading scorer for the East Stars with 123. Try to get the pass inside, tipped away. Now it'll take a huge comeback by the East. They gave it their all. They were down by 31, cut it to 7, and then the West scored 9 in a row to open it up again, and a timeout called with 2:25 to go. And a 16-point lead by the West All-Stars, who have lost 7 of the last 9. Next Saturday at 1 o'clock Eastern, CBS Sports Saturday takes you to Oslo, Norway for the Men's World Speed Skating Championships. Plus, Simon Brown defends his IBF welterweight title against Jorge Masonet. Then is the Daytona Twin 125s, followed by NCAA basketball. Kansas against Duke. You know, they've met in the Final Four in the past. That'll be at 4 o'clock Eastern. Fine menu of sports at 4 o'clock Eastern next Saturday. Well, this is going to be the twilight, the final moments of the last All-Star game for one of the greatest ever. Maybe the only honor he never achieved with all the records was to be an MVP in an All-Star game, Hubie.
Yes, but as you look in the record books, and then when you think back, is the high school record, the record at UCLA, the championships in the NBA, the MVPs. I mean, come on. I mean, the list is just a knockout.
Michael Jordan from the corner with 2:15 to go has 24 points. I'm glad he was here, and I know you felt the same way. He deserved to be here. I don't care if he hadn't scored a point all year.
Well, I think all of the players felt that way also, and it was kind of nice to see that.
Dale Ellis with a turnaround, 27 for Dale Ellis. Kareem didn't think he should be here. It was fitting. Isaiah Thomas with a 3. Zeke, as they call him, with 19 in the ball game. Under 2 minutes to go, and Kareem will be coming in to finish this game. He is at the scorer's table, and he's going to make his final All-Star game appearance to finish out this 39th Classic. Alex English wide open. Karl Malone keeps it alive for Akeem Olajuwon, who throws it away, but there's Malone again inside. Here's Kareem coming in. And the crowd gives him a fine ovation. Akeem goes out. The new star, here's the old one. Kareem Abdul-Jabbar with 2 points, but that's meaningless. The symbolic aspects of him being in this Astrodome game now. Out of bounds, they turn it over to the West. By the way, Akeem Olajuwon with 12 points and 7 boards. Clyde Drexler replaces Dale Ellis. Mark Price replaces Isaiah Thomas. 1:17 to go, and the West will have won 2 of the last 3, and Pat Riley will improve his all-star coaching record to 3 wins and 4 losses. Michael Jordan, open court with that tongue out. Jordan with 26 points.
Toughest thing, we said at the top, for any coach is to take 12 great basketball players and divide up the minutes and keep everyone happy. Impossible.
Crowd's got to be happy.
Oh, yes.
Gibby, what have you enjoyed about this All-Star game as we come to the end of it?
Just being a part of it. This is a happening. It's the big dance of the year. Everybody's getting a chance. And just to be around everyone, the feeling has been so warm with everyone mixing. It's nice.
Mark Jackson keeps it alive. Brad Daugherty off the glass. Terry Cummings banks it in. Jordan with 28 leading the East. Then Isaiah Thomas with 19. Barkley with 17. Those are the high scores. McHale and Cummings each had 10. Chris Mullin and John Stockton will go out of the game, and he should get a good hand. 11 points and 17 assists for Stockton. He had 9 of those assists in the first quarter to set an All-Star game record.
And to keep up the pace that he was doing, you know, when you're talking about the pace of this caliber. Here's the hook.
All right, that's
all
great.
Right.
Standing O.
Wonderful.
He hit the sky hook. What a fitting ending. Michael Jordan misses a 3 with 5 seconds to go. And that'll do it. Game is over, and the West moved out to a big early lead, were threatened, and then came back and put them away. And Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, in his 18th All-Star game, connects on his last shot a sky hook in the waning seconds. And the players congratulate each other. And we will return to learn who is the most valuable player of this 39th All-Star game, won by the West 143 to 134. Back here at the Astrodome in Houston, Texas, Dick Stockton and Hubie Brown. We want to remind you that tonight on CBS begins with 60 Minutes. It was a former U.S. Marine corporal telling the truth when he said he spied for the Russians. Then he said he didn't. Did he or didn't he? Find out on 60 Minutes. Then it's Murder, She Wrote, followed by the CBS Sunday movie, The Outside Woman, starring Sharon Gless and Scott Glenn. That's all tonight on CBS. Who is the most valuable player of this All-Star game? Right now, let's go to center court and Pat O'Brien. Pat?
All right, Dick, thank you very much. Of the 24 greatest basketball players in the world, one has been singled out. And for a presentation, here's Commissioner David Stern of the NBA. David?
Carl, on a day when the greatest players in the world gathered, you were the greatest of them all. 28 points, 9 rebounds. Congratulations, you've earned this trophy. Now you can pick it up.
Karl Malone, ladies and gentlemen. Bob Toledo from Miller Brewing Company has some remarks. Bob, a presentation.
Miller Lite, in your name, we will contribute $5,000 to the Texas Special Olympics. Again, from Miller Lite, thank you for a great performance today.
Carl, congratulations. Did you ever dream of winning an MVP in this game?
No, I didn't. I was just blessed to go out and do a good job and stuff like that, but I felt pretty good and stuff. It's really good when you see John Stockton on the other side, so I think John should share half of this MVP, but I just want to thank everybody that's been supporting me. I know people don't know what Utah at now, but it's in Salt Lake City.
They know where Utah's at by now, I think. It was nice to see, John. You're looking for your mother, Shirley. You're going to try to get her over here, but you guys came out smoking and never looked back, did you, the West?
Well, I did an interview with Isaiah before the game, and he said that they was going to beat us, and they did in Chicago, and it's good for the West to win, and this is my second time here, and I think it's the most exciting time, and you know, I'm just really excited about the whole situation.
Karl Malone, congratulations on being the greatest basketball player on earth on this day. And we'll be back in a moment, but first here's Dick Stockton.
All right, Pat, thank you very much. So Michael Jordan with 28 leads the East. Karl Malone, the MVP, the top scorer for the West with 28. A record crowd of 44,735 at the Astrodome. sees the West win the All-Star game. So for Hubie Brown, Pat O'Brien, and James Brown, this is Dick Stockton saying so long from the Astrodome in Houston, Texas. Next Sunday, the NBA on CBS continues as the Boston Celtics clash with the Los Angeles Lakers at 3:30 Eastern. Next Saturday at 1 o'clock Eastern, CBS Sports Saturday takes you to Oslo, Norway for the Men's World Speed Skating Championship, plus an IBF welterweight title bout.
CBS Sports coverage of the NBA All-Star Game has been sponsored by Plymouth and the 9 most important words Plymouth knows. Old Spice Liquid Stick, the most advanced form of protection in the world. And by Miller Lite. When it's Miller Lite, less filling, tastes great.
CBS is a presentation of CBS Sports.